I require 1 day off a week. That's not up for debate. Otherwise, your wish is my command. Pillion was written and directed by Harry Lighton. He's done shorts in the past. This is his feature-length debut, and is based on the novel Box Hill by Adam Mars Jones, and centers around a young, shy gay man named Colin, played by Harry Melling. Yes, Dudley Dursley from the Harry Potter franchise. That's right. You feel old yet? I know I fucking do. Anyway, Colin is ready to celebrate Christmas. He's singing at a local bar with a quartet. He has a nice father and a nice mother. And they know he's gay. They don't care that he's gay. They just want him to find the right guy. And maybe he has found that right guy after a chance encounter with a biker named Ray. Played terrifically by Alexander Skarsgård. And let's just say this is going to be a special type of relationship. One that requires complete obedience. Yep, it's one of those movies. It's a dom-com, a dom-sub-com. And boy, oh boy, if you have not seen the trailer, it ain't going to prepare you for what this film has to offer. If you have seen the trailer, it may still not prepare you for what this film has to offer, because this is honestly one of the funniest and one of the sweetest BDSM-themed movies that I have seen in quite a while. It's like if Lust Caution didn't have the wartime theme hanging over it, and also featured a mostly British cast. Okay, so it's nothing like Lust Caution, but you get the point. So it's about complete obedience and everything, and Colin is up for the task. I do want to say this isn't just about, simplistic stuff. It does show the complexities of how people act, and how, certain tropes can be broken through and stamped down and whatever. Certain holes can be broken through, ironically. There are things in this movie that will probably turn some people off. I'm just going to say right now, read the description. Look at the poster. If it doesn't appeal to you, don't go watch it. I want people to support this movie, but I could almost see some people watching this and just being like, I didn't know what I was getting into. There's also something to see with an engaged or at least interactive audience. People that are into the themes. People that are into the fact that there's some awkward humor in this. I haven't seen something that could be considered this funny since Friendship. Now, Friendship is a vastly funnier movie, but there are so many hilarious moments in this, but it is so fucking sweet at the same time. It is baffling how they made this movie work. And even though I thought that they were going to go for a really, really dark second half, well, I'll talk about that in the spoilers a little bit more. This is just heartwarming as fuck, which is shocking to say. And yeah, there are some, I guess you could say, perverse or sick acts. If you're into this sort of thing, okay, it's not my kink. I could never be into this stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with that if you guys are into it. I had a blast watching this, especially after watching Psycho Killer, and This Is Not a Test. I watched those two movies back to back and then drove literally into North Seattle, only about 10 miles. It somehow took me 20 minutes, and I managed to get there just in time as the last trailer was ending. It's a 4-story theater, by the way. You get checked in, you go to the next floor if you want to go through one of the first 7 screens. Unfortunately, I was in screen 9, so I had to go all the way up. Fortunately, escalators exist. Not the escalator from the Final Destination. Good Lord. So, whole point is, this movie, heartwarming as hell, very, very good. In fact, excellent. I will call this one of my favorite movies of the year. Bar none. I see why it was being lavished with praise, why people were just salivating, ironically. And yeah, it's all about commitment. It's all about commitment to obedience, but it's also about maybe appreciating what you have. There's a lot of really good stuff with this. Now, I don't want to say it doesn't get too deep, because it does. There are moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a bit much. But whatever. The audience was into it. It's in theaters right now if you want to check it out. Getting a wide release soon. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, basically, we start off with the quartet thing, almost a barbershop quartet. And then we see that Colin meets Ray. And he basically, he kind of likes him, but also sees, I can manipulate the fuck out of this guy. So, and by the way, it's around Christmas. I didn't wear the hat, by the way, because even though it opens at Christmas, and closes at Christmas is not a Christmas movie. Also, the hat is in the wash, unfortunately, and I have to hang it to dry because eventually you get to where, you know, your scalp maybe, will leave some stuff on the hat and everything, and you need to keep it clean for the holidays. So that being said, the mother, Peggy, Leslie Sharp, I have to say, terrific performance. She also had, and the dad also was really good in this, but Leslie just had some funny lines, like calling him a certain word that I can't say. It's how the British people say the word can't. Yeah, you get it. But what I like about this movie is Colin, is willing to do everything, but he thinks that if he does, then eventually maybe he can get something in return. That's not what a Dom sub thing is. He does eventually get invited to Ray's place. Ray has a regiment. Colin must cook for him. He gets to hang out with the group. He also gets his long lock shaved, pretty much down to not as short as this. You need to use a razor to bick like this. Ow, I cut myself earlier. But, he has to sleep on the floor. He has to wake up at a certain time, make breakfast, and do this, and basically just be his... Somebody called this, call me by your slave. And I laughed. I wish I had written down who said that because it was terrific. But eventually it becomes obvious that Ray, even though he isn't, he's into being a Dom, that kind of stuff, there's a bit of affection for Colin. He was able to, bring some certain things out. Even this one sub ends up saying that. I don't know all the terminology, by the way, but there's like a part almost halfway through at a creek where this biker gang gathers and they're playing the chicken jockey thing where, in the water, where Colin doesn't do all that well and Ray gets frustrated because he doesn't like to lose. He likes everything to be perfect. He invites that guy over and that guy basically ends up telling Colin, yes, he's a handsome guy, but you compliment him really well. That's not something I can say for a lot of people. Also, one thing that he drops, he says, I didn't mind being with Ray, but there was a no kissing rule. More on that here. That's actually the big breaking point. But there's even a point where, before this, where Ray and Colin are wrestling in very, in wrestling gear that I don't think the Steiner brothers would have done, mainly because they were brothers, and also whatever. But that being said, it's set to Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now, which is a great needle drop. And then we get, pinning, and then we get penetration. We get a different kind of submissive wrestling, as it were. We do get the funniest, I think the funniest interaction, which is like their first interaction like of that kind, where he takes a dog out, woof, woof, woof. And Ray has a dog, by the way. I wonder where the dog went, because the dog just seemingly disappeared. So Colin ends up basically servicing Ray in the alleyway. And it ends up even licking stuff off his boot, because why not? That's what you do. But, even at that, picnic getaway thing, there are subs bent over a goddamn table where the Doms can just take... not take advantage of them, but basically get themselves serviced, and that's what they're there to do. And even though Colin's supposed to sleep on the floor, eventually he's allowed to sleep in the bed. And the mother, by the way, is very sick. I do want to warn you that if you have lost somebody to cancer, this may end up affecting you. But Peggy wants to meet the guy. And the dad's totally on board with this too, because the dad's trying to play peacemaker, but he's also trying to take care of his wife in her final days. The mother does unfortunately pass away sometime after this lunch or whatever, where Ray is just so emotionally unattached. Even though he is attached, he's just very good at putting it up. And I do have to say, Alexander Skarsgård is magnificent playing this. Like, you almost think he's a fucking robot. Like, great emotional detachment work from him. And Harry Melling just wants to really get through to him. He has a birthday. This is what he wanted for his birthday. And, you don't get to ask for things, this kind of stuff. But you know what? All right, let's go. So they do, and then unfortunately the dinner, lunch, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't quite go well, and basically Peggy kind of runs off, you know, Colin and Ray, and also since Ray's a motorcycle enthusiast, there's actually some great shots of like just riding down the goddamn streets and everything, and the highways and byways. Some really really good camera work. And some great needle drops. I mean, not just of, I think we're alone now, but other stuff. And basically, Colin ends up kind of getting a little bit, not necessarily greedy, but he wants a little bit of something in return, because he wonders what he's done wrong. Well, he ends up saying, "Can I maybe sleep in your bed once a week? Oh no, how about once a month? No, and those kind of stuff." How about maybe I have a day off and we just be people, uncouple from this and just do stuff. And, Ray's like, no, this kind of stuff. Well, basically, he tries to get in the bed when he's not supposed to. Then he ends up just kind of fully snapping in a hilarious way. He puts on Ray's shirt. Ray shoves him out the goddamn thing because he's interrupting his routine, and that's not what it's supposed to do. And there's a piano that's there, by the way. This is right after his mom passed away, so he's not really emotionally all that stable, who would be after losing a parent, especially to fought cancer. But he starts playing the piano, disturbs the dog. I thought maybe he was going to attack the dog. Thankfully, he did not do that. And then he decides to steal the motorcycle and race off and everything, and then realizes he made a mistake, parks it back there, sleeping on the steps, and Ray's like, okay, come on in. And he comes in, makes some breakfast. He's like, taking a day off. What do you want to do? You made your point. What do you want to do? And they actually have a sweet day where they do some stuff. The filleting stuff is probably something that I think might turn some people off. But I was on board just because it was funny, just the way it was done. They end up basically having a great day. They end up going to a Thai place. They do some singing where Colin is seen as, better at just singing a silly little tune. And Alexander Skarsgård is no slouch. He sings fine, but the women are like, oh, we prefer him. You paid these two women off, and he's having fun with it. And then they go to the theater. They mess up the theater, staining the seat, shall we say. Gave me PTSD because I used to work at a theater, and that stuff does not come out easily out of a seat. Not fun. Not fun at all. Don't do that shit. But, they run out and they're wrestling in the goddamn park. Everything's good. And basically the thing is, Ray does this where, the no kissing thing that was talked about. I think the character's name was Kevin. No kissing contact. Or the rule. Finally happens. Great, it's all this, but Ray realizes that that he's let down this wall that he's not supposed to let down. He's in his own head. This kind of stuff can't allow himself to feel like that and not be in control. So even though everything's great, suddenly Colin goes back to see him, and his apartment is completely cleaned out. It's like it was never lived in. The bikers don't know where he went. He just took off. And after searching for him for a bit, he decides not to. We flash forward to Christmas again, and he makes a profile after doing the barbershop quartet thing, and basically says, I'm known to be obedient and everything, but I require 1 day off a week. That's not for debate. Otherwise, your wish is my command. Finally learned to stand up for himself. And then there's another guy, Darren, I think was the guy's name, the character's name. And things are going well. And then, smash cut to credits. Colin has finally learned to stand up for himself. It's sweet, endearing. I actually thought we were going to go for something where Colin was going to end up doing something emotionally disturbing and not be on this planet anymore. Thankfully, they didn't go that route because he would have been so sad, stricken with grief, losing somebody that he had connected with. whether it was going to last for a short time or a long time. But Pillion is just really, really fucking good. Like, and I highly recommend you guys check this out. It's in limited release right now. I think it's getting a bigger release, if not this coming weekend. It's definitely going to get released wider sometime in March. So please check it out. It's worth it. If the plot doesn't appeal to you, if the themes don't appeal to you, probably best that you don't fucking check it out. But yeah, anyway, A+. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Retland. Until we revisit the subdom genre of comms again, I don't think that's actually how that works. Happy trails to you.